Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh, an aspiring comics artist, and I'm joined by my co-host Eric Zawadzki, the artist on the critically acclaimed Assorted Crisis events from Image Comics, the first trade paperback for which is out now, and Taylor Stauft, the creator of Luke Zenith's Wedding Day, the short story featured in the comics anthology Faster Than Light, Volume 2. Today, we have a very special episode. We'll be looking at the career of comics legend Paul Gulacy. We'll be looking at select issues of his run on Master of Kung Fu from Marvel Comics. Now, Master of Kung Fu mirrors the success of books like Tomb of Dracula from the 1970s, where Tomb of Dracula, large part of its success was catering to fans of the horror genre. There was a martial arts boom as well during the 1970s, which led to the resounding success for Master of Kung Fu, which was a run that lasted for almost a decade.
Yeah, it was there was never a craze that Marvel Comics would not jump on immediately. And the martial arts craze in I've seen there is a theory that's actually a result of the rise of feminism of all things, but we're not going to get into that because that's too political. But what we did get was Master of Kung Fu. What'd you guys think of this?
Oh, yeah, I was very impressed by some of these comics.
Some of them.
Yeah, the quality kind of like ebbs and flows, I think.
Yeah.
The main so Paul Gulacy, I love Paul Gulacy's art, and I got into him quite late, like my 20s, early 30s. I think when Marvel was doing their Max Comics imprint, the first couple of years, they did a Master of Kung Fu miniseries through Max.
They did, yes, and it
And
actually
also,
kind of capped this off.
and also his collaboration with Warren Ellis on Reload. There was a string of Warren Ellis miniseries that were being published by DC, and I loved both of those series. So I got into his early Master of Kung Fu run pretty much in preparation for this episode. I always meant to get around to it. I listened to an interview with Paul Gulacy, and he sounded like such a cool guy. That was a word balloon interview with John Suntres, and he
Shout
sounded
out to the
so
OG.
cool. Yeah, shout out to John Suntres, man, doing the Lord's work.
Yep.
So yeah, basically in preparation for this episode, I dug into his original Master of Kung Fu run, and I was really blown away. Like, he deserves every bit of praise he gets. I think he's actually quite underrated.
Oh yeah, he is, and I think actually this is also part of the mini theme that is running through this show of ours, which is team writer artist teams.
Yeah.
Because Paul Gulacy and Doug Moench, I believe. You can't find that great of like. There's so many ways to pronounce it.
I think it's Doug Moench.
I'm not sure about that. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
In my head, I pronounced it, I'm sure, incorrectly. It's like Doug Munch, but
Yeah, Doug Munch, Doug Moench, Doug Moench, Doug Monk, Doug Manch, something like that. Doug, if you're seeing this, we apologize. I know it's something you've probably dealt with every goddamn day of your life.
Doug Munch.
I can relate.
I think it's Doug Munch, like Robert Munch.
But they went on to do a creator-owned book for Epic. From Marvel.
They did,
Epic
yeah.
In the 80s.
Well, and the interview that I read from Tomorrow's, shout out to Tomorrow's, if anybody is interested in the history of comics, that's where you want to go. They are obsessive over there. But he says, like, this was a creative partnership that I was not expecting. You get the end, they just vibed really well despite their enormous difference in what they wanted and what they were looking for.
Oh, interesting.
The creator-owned series, you're talking about Saber, right?
Yeah,
that was
I believe so.
It's
there's another one too, though.
Six from Cyrus or something like that.
That's one as well. Yeah, It's
Serious Six. You mean
Well,
Serious?
it is interesting because most of these comics are credited with Doug Munch writing, and
Mhm.
then there's the two best issues are, or maybe only one of them is credited as, I think, co-plotted or co-written by Paul Gulacy. So it is interesting that that those issues are what I consider the high point. But you say that they had differences in where they believe the story should go.
Yeah, because Paul was more interested in the action of it, right? Like he, despite not being a huge fan or connoisseur of martial arts movies, which, as we discussed, were just exploding at this time, especially with the popularity and very tragic sudden death of Bruce Lee. There were like the Bruce exploitation movies started getting pumped out on top of just an influx of martial arts Shaw Brothers movies, that sort of thing. And so he's not like he's not super into them, but he is aware of what people like about them. And whereas Monk was way more into the philosophical aspects of the character.
Hmm.
Huh,
Like
interesting.
he really would have liked for still, silent, contemplative issues of just considering the dewdrop of a single blade of grass sort of thing. And Paul's like, but also fights, right? That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna
Have that
do. We're gonna do
balance.
that. Yeah, yeah. And according to Gulacy, the scripts are super tight. Like they are the way he made it sound, it was he even has the dialogue in there, which I think, given the Marvel method of the '70s, that was that was a lot. That was like, oh boy, you're putting a lot of
Yeah,
work into this.
we're going to get to some issues where that's going to become very evident,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I
where they
still
just have
pointed out when
to.
we.
I would say though, like if Doug Munch got his way and they did do that more contemplative, kind of talking heads sort of story, do you think that Gulacy's artwork would have gone more towards, and I say this very lovingly, but you know how Jay Lee draws people standing around doing nothing, like more beautifully than any other artist in the industry right now. Do you not think that Paul Gulacy would have kind of gone the same way?
That's a good
I mean,
question.
we can kind of see the push and pull of that in these issues. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
guess you could.
we
Yeah, yeah.
the thing
which
about Gulacy that stood out to me actually is his dedication to anatomy, and I don't think that's very interesting to him if it's just a standing body or a sitting body, right? Like this right here. I mean, look at them back muscles, right? He is.
so sorry. What issue is this?
This is number
25.
25. We're just gonna casually flip through this guy, but
And how early into Paul Gulacy? Like this is what was he on this comic at the very beginning?
no, he comes on with number 18, which was the second issue of it being titled Fists of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu.
What
Yeah,
was it called
actually,
before that?
18, 19, and 20 were written by Steve Englehart, not Doug Munch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Englehart actually first created this, came up with this as as I don't know if it's actually that he wanted to do Kung Fu, the TV show, or something like it. But when he went with Starlin to editorial and said, "Hey, we want to do Kung Fu," they're like, "Oh, DC has that license. You can't do that at all. But you can make a martial arts book." Here's the thing: we already have the rights to Fu Manchu, Sax Rohmer's Fu Manchu, so work that in. And that's how
We
you
already
came
have
up.
it, so make use of the money we spent, right?
Yeah, exactly. To answer your question, Eric, Marvel Special Marvel Edition is what the book was called. It was a reprint book for issue 1 through 14, and then 15 is where Shang-Chi first shows up. And with issue 17, it becomes The Hands of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu.
Huh. And I interrupted you earlier. You were admiring the beautiful anatomy. Like, look, yeah, look at those back muscles.
Yeah. Look at him, right? Like even in uh, smaller renderings, he's still putting in the detail of like bulk and power, which I think is a difficult thing to balance when it comes to muscular figures.
I do like the single line hatching that he does to define the muscle groups.
Yeah, the
I found it
feathering.
very elegant, actually, and
Yeah,
trying to apply that a little bit more.
he's not using too many. Boy, you can tell it's the '70s because they need a lot of ads. Oof, they need
It's
that
interesting
money
that he's Paul Gulacy is playing around with timing and panels quite a bit in these comics. There's a
already.
lot
Yeah,
of
because
breaking up of
this is
movement.
one of his earliest. This is one of his earliest. He had been doing. He had done a Morbius story before this, and had done some inking work, and had worked for Penthouse, doing comics that Steranko had turned down some work at Penthouse, and Gulacy did took some of that, but yeah, this is super early for him. He doesn't have a huge comics career prior to this. He had worked for Dan Adkins as an assistant, which apparently meant driving Adkins around a lot, and that's about it. Because
Uh,
Adkins didn't drive.
do you,
Uh,
I was going to say, Taylor, do you know anything about his comics influence? Did he grow up reading comics? Because
no, he didn't.
he has such a like new appeal. Like the only word I find is new for
Yeah,
the way his storytelling is, and when he gets a little bit more ambitious with like the movie poster splash pages for the first page of every issue later into his run. Like that stuff wasn't being done by anyone else besides Stranko, obviously, but like that kind of style was readers were getting spoiled with stuff like that because if you look at the and not to knock any of the other artists that worked on the book, for fill-ins or between issue arcs for Gulacy, but that was very mainstream kind of total line Marvel style, whereas Gulacy was actually doing innovative stuff. He was doing stuff. He was really exploring the real estate on the page and different montages and techniques that you can use. It is not going to be storytelling.
And this is
yeah,
early on in his career, so he's got something to prove, right?
Yeah. So
yeah.
that
Can't
could
get done again.
actually lend itself to him having not really read comics before, or he read a lot of comics before. Like it's just one of those things that could go either way.
He wasn't a comics guy.
I
He liked
fucking
them,
knew it. I knew
and
it.
he didn't collect them. He actually said that that's kind of a because he would do this book. He got quite burnt out on the
I can
comics
see why.
industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, yeah, which is why you don't see Paul Gulacy covers on any of these. Also, he is working right down to the wire because he's putting a lot of work in for not a lot of money, and it's it's something that he discovers that he enjoys. He seems to discover that he enjoys it, but it's not something that, as a 6-year-old, he's gazing at. He picked them up here and there as a kid, but not. He wasn't a collector, and another part of that burnout was that he was not that connected to the comic creator community. Why, like in a wider sense, he knew Val Myrick, he knew Dan Adkins, but other than them, like Myrick was just
Cool
because
for
they
him.
lived in the same town, right?
Yeah. No, he
And
was so cool. For him.
well, and he went to what was it called? He went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. Um, So he went for like real fucking art stuff. He was looking to be a commercial advertising guy, which a lot of these guys were. Like that the industry from the beginning to probably the mid '70s
Oh, he could
is
have
just
totally been
littered
in that.
with
He could have totally
guys
been
that
in
couldn't
that.
make it or needed to
Yeah.
have something while they worked on advertising stuff. So it's not surprising that one he's not adhering to like standards that have been set before, or tropes that have been set before, because he's not that aware of them.
So, what is it safe to say that the peak of the martial arts boom was Enter the Dragon, or was that the start of the martial arts boom?
That's a good question.
And
Because the thing,
looking at this issue, what is the cover date of this issue, and what is the timing with it for compared to Enter the Dragon? I think this is probably maybe it was produced around the time it came out, or
so 25 would be February. I think it's 1974, because it first comes out in 73. Let's see. December 73 is when the character first appears. So 10 issues on. Yeah, it's probably 70. It's February 74. No, 75.
it,
Um,
okay. So this issue came out February 75. Enter the Dragon came out in 74, right?
yeah,
So this comic was probably being produced around the time that Enter the Dragon was in theaters, maybe, or afterwards, probably several months afterwards.
afterwards. Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
safe to say that he is drawing Bruce Lee when he's drawing Shang-Chi?
Later on, yes, I would say so. Like
Yeah.
at this point, I think so. He has seen that movie by this point. He says I hadn't even seen Enter the Dragon since until like a year after Bruce Lee died. So
Oh, okay.
Mm.
so he's seen it quite recently, and he's he's it was never the intent for this to be Bruce Lee, but it just kind of aligned that way, like the culture, the stuff that was coming over. And it is my belief that there is an increasing influx of martial arts movies produced in the 60s and early 70s, because there's a lot of masculinity crisis going on for a lot of men in America. They are
Oh, interesting.
they're like, because a martial arts movie is just a dance movie. Like, it's all choreo. That's not what fights look like, right? They don't look
Mm.
cool and quick and decisive. They look like two sweaty dudes rolling around, missing shots and slipping off each other, and
Well, famously,
losing
Bruce Lee
balance.
was all about that. He didn't respect like tournaments because he didn't think those were real fights. He
Yeah.
was all about street fights and
Well, and he's a dancer. He's a champion dancer.
right. Part of
Yeah.
his competitive
Yeah.
streak.
Yeah. So he's a choreographer, right? Dance or fights, whatever, it's the same thing. But, because there was a time when, guys with shrapnel in their ass are going to see Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, no problem, without any kind of threat to their masculinity. But eventually, there's young men in America that can't seem to abide the idea of seeing well-produced dance movies, and martial arts movies happen to fill that slot, because
Oh, that's
it's my
fascinating.
belief that everybody likes dance, right? Like, you start when you're a little kid. As soon as you can walk, you're dancing, you're moving. You get more uncomfortable with it as you're a gawky teen, but it's still impressive to see well-trained professionals do something that they're really good at.
It's athletic,
And
right?
yeah, yeah. And I think a big part of that is like that desire of a lot of people is found in uh, martial arts movies, and then translated to this. Although, as we will see, I don't know that there's a lot of choreography going on here.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Is it safe to say that the action scenes in this comic aren't too far off from the action scenes you would see in like a Captain America comic at this time? Like it
Well,
doesn't like.
well,
I mean, there's a little bit like there's a kicking scene like a couple pages prior to this, which kind of look like martial arts, you know, kind of kicks,
that guy.
but um, or there's a 5 panel sequence like before this where
Mm.
early on in the issue where they do kind of look martial arts ish, but for the most part, I don't see too much that looks Yeah, see, that's the kicking scene I'm talking about right there.
Ah, yeah.
There's a. Can you go to page 12 where he catches the knife with his teeth,
Where he
and
catches
then
the knife.
he catches the knife with his teeth,
Oh,
and
wow. And he takes a big chunk out of it.
it takes a big chunk out of it, and
That's
then
crazy.
there's a scene, then he dodges a couple spears coming for him, and he somersaults into kicking two other guys behind him, and then he like there is some choreography going on here, you know.
There it
And
is.
it's not the Captain America quality. It's more like he does one amazing thing after another fantastic thing,
Yeah.
another spectacular thing. Like he's doing a lot of backflips and actually and you don't have this one, Taylor, but I was when I was doing some research for this one, Giant Size Master of Kung Fu #3. There's a car chase scene where he does a DeLuca effect backflip off a car that crashes into a building, and it's amazing. Like it's fantastically choreographed.
The to that point, I do yeah, I think he has said in interviews that he is not looking to make this a superhero book, right? Like I don't think he's going into it with, oh, it's going to be like Captain America. But he's also not really working from any kind of personal knowledge of kung fu or any other martial arts. So it's a guy who has started watching the movies that are coming in and approximating it as best he can.
Right. And then the
Yeah.
next issue we look at is much later on, and that is like where is it safe
Yeah.
to say he's taking the martial arts aspects a little more
I
seriously, or quite a
I
bit more
think he
seriously?
does. Yeah,
Are we,
cuz
are we
it's
going to 38 now?
yeah, let's go to 38 cuz
38 is
I do
Now,
think like
38,
38.
I think, is a masterpiece. I
Yes.
think it is.
really
I
I was expecting you to
Oh,
say 39.
um, 39 is
well,
pretty good.
these three issues are all
Oh
just
yeah, these three issues are great. Like this is
yeah,
what I wish the whole series was like, just
yeah.
because it is a lot more contemplative. It's really steeped way more uh, in the spy genre, crime genre, and martial arts genre. Like it's a great balance of all three.
But also, Gulacy's been working on the book long enough that he reaches that peak where, like, his especially like with his renditions of Shang Chi at this point are actually. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Early on in his work, the way he drew Shang Chi with his eyes, especially, were still kind of more Caucasian leaning. Whereas
Mm.
here, it's much more realistic. He actually looks Asian.
He
Uh,
looks like Bruce
Pigtail
Lee.
fold
how,
is difficult to get down for honkies.
But yeah, but look at that second tier, the close up. I mean, is
yes,
that not
that's
Bruce
what I
Lee?
was going to go to. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, and because that's actually one of the things that stood out to me about this run is I think he has gotten to a point here where he is casting this book. Like this is Bruce Lee, but we'll also see.
Yeah,
Well,
there's an actor there in issue like 41 or 42. I want to see if you guys see the same actor I see, but I mean, you're probably
who's
just about to reveal it, maybe.
who's this? Does
Oh, I don't know.
that that is Marlene Dietrich. She's like a German American actress from the 30s through the 60s. Like her last role is 78, but that was like a kind of one-off return. She ends most of her acting career in the 60s. But she's
Oh,
got this very like striking look with like the arched eyebrows, the pronounced jaw and cheekbones. And one of the things in this interview that I read with him is he really dislikes what we've been calling the Betty and Veronica syndrome.
yeah, same
He
face syndrome.
yeah, like he really wants women and just people in general, but especially women to look like individuals. He's unimpressed with it's the same face with different hair. So he
Right.
cast it like he's taken
I
a
mean,
30s
we see two faces right there, right? Two
yeah,
completely
like
different faces.
two completely different faces.
Now,
He's
now he says he dislikes that, but like that exists for the sake of meeting deadlines. That exists
Yep.
for an artist who has to produce 12 issues a year.
Hmm.
You have to create shorthands to pull this off.
Mm.
And as you established, he was killing himself working on this comic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He's putting a lot of hours in because you get stuff like this, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Like this is
yeah. There's like
it's confusing.
stippling on that face,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
what like he's working with an inker, so I'm fascinated by how much like Dan Adkins was doing that stippling, right?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
Dan
Yeah,
Adkins was the inker.
he was. Yeah. Yeah, his old boss.
So yeah, this reeks of like Steranko, just like experimentation, playing around.
That is the
Um,
one artist that he actually mentions as kind of the touchstone for him. He's like his interest in comics of any kind is the result of Steranko and Nick Fury Agent of Shield stuff.
Now, this page, there's an arrow on there to improve readability.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful page. It looks amazing, but it doesn't read very well. And I
No.
personally think that yeah, because like you have to read those first three panels first, and then
Yeah.
which
It's
are
got
part of
all
the wind
three-
chimes or whatever, and then you
yeah.
have to go on to the panel on the
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
is it
and then you have to go
this
back to the
and
chimes.
then
I think this panel
this? I think.
would have been pulled off if he flipped it. Like the entire panel would be
Ah,
perfect
yeah,
if it
yeah, yeah.
was flipped, which is easy enough in our modern times when I'm working on rough layouts in Photoshop or Clip Studio, and I just like, flip the layout and go, okay, now I see it. It reads better. But back then, it wasn't so easy.
Yeah.
Well, the arrow itself, it may have like obviously when I think Gulacy came up with this page layout. I think to counter your point, I think if he got rid of the top right panel, it would have read a lot better. And
Well,
Just
he's
but
like
using that.
zigzag
something's got
down.
to occupy that space.
Well, he's adhering to that three-tier panel system. Like if a nine-panel grid, he's kind of like breaking the page up into thirds, which is kind of his downfall here. I think even the arrow may have been like editorially mandated.
A lot of comics is problem solving. Like, yes, you come up with the design, but then there's an empty space here,
Hmm.
and you need to have them talking in she needs to be talking in panel 3 and he needs to be talking in panel 1. Like, yeah, it's all about problem solving, and so like he
And
probably did come up with that situation where it is on one side, but then there's a big empty space, and so yeah.
he also needs to be able to find because as we know, the all of this
Oh,
dialogue
geez,
is in
yeah,
that script, right? He
yeah.
has to have room
Reading
for
a
it.
copyright.
Yeah, they were called bewitchers of the night. These magicians, and with colored lanterns and Bengal lights for the eyes, cymbal music for the ears, burning incense for the nose, sweet nectar of the tongue, and balls of jade, which spectators were asked to rub gently between their fingers. These bewitchers of the night played on the five human senses. That's half that block. I'm
I
not
think
reading the full thing because you're not here for that, but like,
I
fuck.
think writers around this time were paid by the word, but I'm not 100% on that.
I wonder if this is the shift to a writer trying to exert more control, like rather than being. I think Stan is more comfortable with, yeah, I'll just come up with the dialogue later because he's got other stuff to do. Right at the beginning of the Marvel era, he is editor in chief, writer, sometimes the art director. Like he's keeping an eye on production. It's like a three-man office when he's working. So he's like, I don't care what the words are, I'll figure that out later. But I think if you're sitting in Youngstown, Ohio, thinking about your writing, you're probably going to be wanting to exert more control so that the story is reflecting you.
Yeah. So the next issue, Paul Gulacy gets a co-plot credit, and in this issue, if we look at the credit page
Yeah,
is
it's just
interesting. It's ambiguous, but I have a theory that Paul Gulacy co-plotted this, and because it says
yeah.
story and art with both of them together. Like every role gets their distinct block. Like the inker gets his block, the letterer gets his block, but Moench and Gulacy are blocked together, and I think that's deliberately trying to say they came up with this story together.
Oh yeah. Like I think from the sounds of it, Gulacy got a script and went, okay, but also I'm gonna do my own thing in it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I can see, like,
So
if we look at this opening sequence, this has the pacing of a movie. This doesn't
yeah.
feel like your average Marvel comic.
No.
I mean, this, what is this? 3 pages of him walking, and then
And a cat. A guy like several cats. Just like he's not even in some of it.
the cat stuff is like mood setting,
Oh yeah.
and it's also it's also being very artful with, like, he's looking for a guy, like the villain is called the Cat. He's explicitly in Hong Kong to
Yeah.
come after this bit, and he, like, if we go to the next page, like, the first panel of that second tier, he's like facing off with like a cat,
The
which is
reflection of
it's
him in
supposed to
the
be
sky.
symbolic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is brilliant. And
Yeah.
this reads to me, and this is just me, like, making assumptions, but this doesn't read like the other issues, and it reads like Paul Gulacy is exerting control over the story and elevating this
Yeah, because you get
quite a
like
bit.
this intercut of time as well, right?
Oh my
Like
god,
this is him
brilliant.
Yeah.
getting yeah, all the black panels are him getting the mission and talking about it, and then all of this is just like it's a further reflection of that. Like he doesn't even need to
It
put this in, right? But
Yeah, it makes the talk of the mission a lot more visual and a lot more appealing. It just reads better. Yeah, I don't know. This is why I like this page alone is what makes me say
Yeah.
this comic is a masterpiece.
yeah.
Page Reads is masterfully done. It uses all the space, 15 panel page for a
Yeah.
recap.
Yeah.
This is essentially a recap, bringing the readers up to speed, right? Um,
Just
and
a beautiful first panel.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The use of the silhouette, just like black all of it out, pull him in, and then and I do love too that the background is black in these to reflect like this is
Yeah.
the shadowy nature of the espionage game that they're all playing here. They're not
And it just serves a great contrast between
yeah,
the intercutting. And
yeah.
yeah, I love how he's slowly walking and then the cat is stalking behind him. It's very symbolic of the story overall. Like, this is a very artfully done comic.
big time.
This is an art school kid doing comics, yeah. Then interrupted by look, isokinetics, new breakthrough in muscle building. Hooray.
Now, speaking of me personally as an artist, I went through I drew a lot of comics where I collaborated with writers,
Mhm.
and I very deliberately stuck to the script to a T, just to be respectful of the script, and because I thought that's what as a professional, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, this predates me getting paid for anything. This is all in indie comics, but I found that my career elevated. People started taking notice when I learned to put my own stamp on the scripts and make alterations and do stuff that I'm describing here that I believe Paul Gulacy did to
Yeah.
elevate the script. And I'm speaking specifically of, like, my comic Eternal, where
Ooh.
so
Shout out to Eternal Black Mask, available now. Try to find it if you can. It is fantastic. Eric kills it on that book.
yeah, and that was me specifically. My goal of that was to approach the script respectfully, but also treat it like a respected director would, which is
Hmm.
just to put a bit of myself into the script, much like I think I'm seeing here that Paul Gulacy did. Because I mean, maybe I'm repeating myself, but the other issues do not feel like this issue. The other issues do not have the pacing and the artful storytelling of this issue.
Yeah, I think this is probably the result of him wanting to make it more interesting for himself. Because I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't think there's a lot of action in this
Well,
This is
book.
a tiny bit, yeah.
Yeah, there's some
It,
like
it
this is great, right? Like the blowout of panels, but
Oh, I love
not a
how
lot.
it slowly gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It acts as a sort of ramping up. Like, there's just so much thought put on every page.
Yeah, it's like it's a jump cut of the same thing to you.
that's very token of the kung fu movies of the 70s too, where it's like, block one punch, block the next punch, then do a counter, and then end with a high kick. Like, I've
Mhm.
seen that 100 times in 100 different movies. right?
Yeah, but you make a good point, but it is very
Yes.
choreographed because he's like he grabs the wrist here, he still has it here and here. He doesn't let go until he kicks the guy off screen.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like he's trying to make this feel more like a legitimately martial arts action scene than some of
Hmm.
that earlier stuff that last issue we were looking at.
Yeah, so my theory is that this is at the point where he has started going to hang out at the dojo that Val Myrick is teaching at to get a better feel for how the human body moves in the use of martial arts.
Sorry, who's Val Myrick?
Val Myrick is the co-creator of Howard the Duck, I believe.
Oh, he's an artist.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with his stuff.
He's the co-creator of most notably, he's the co-creator of Howard the Duck, Man Thing. He worked on. Yeah,
Who
he was
also
a
writes
he was a
appearance
'70s guy.
in Master of Kung Fu. He fights Man Thing in Master of Kung Fu as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a Marvel guy. He was one of the new crop of guys that they brought in the '70s because they were kind of they had guys either aging out or the line either expanded and they had to get new stuff. So Val Myrick is one of the guys that came on in the late '60s, early '70s.
And so around this time, Paul Gulacy is getting his hands dirty, um, trying to
I
familiarize himself more with
I
martial
think
arts.
so. Yeah, he's not very good with dates in the interview I read. He's kind of more relating things to each other in terms of sequence, but it's not like a specific date. But I think this is about when he starts taking more of a look at how these should look because like this is 38, so this is 13 issues on from 25. He hasn't done all of them in that time, but he's done a lot.
It should be noted that I think the issues prior to this, Paul Gulacy did not draw, and
Yeah.
so uh, he had probably had more time to do this issue because as we get further on, you can see the deadline pressures, and you can see in like 41, 42, 43 that the issues he drew, the care and attention isn't as present in those issues
Hmm.
as it is in this.
Yeah. But for this one, like, yeah, he's able to give like this cut through time. This really stuck out to me when I was reading these, as far as
Yeah.
like it could have just been one panel, but there is something about breaking it up that kind of it's like you're moving through the scene rather than just being presented with it.
Yeah, and it makes it more readable too. Like
Yeah.
you think those four, like those four text boxes are probably like what, two sentences?
Yeah.
They would all be one text box maybe, and so this makes it more readable,
Hmm.
breaking it up like that.
It lets the scene breathe quite a bit. Like I see
That's a
artists
good
doing
word
this.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I see
Mm.
artists doing this today, and they're chopping up one picture into 5 panels for like no reason. And I'm not going to name names,
Yeah.
okay? But I'm going to say it. Like I see a lot of artists today, young and old, that are pulling this kind of shit, and it's just it doesn't serve the story. It doesn't do anything for
Mhm.
your eye. Like this actually deliberately slows your eye down. It slows the scene down. It makes you take it all in. And I see people ape it today, and it's not point. It's like they're missing the point, I think.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because you're right. It's like there's action in each one. It's either like okay, so we got the beginning of the roulette game, and you're right. It slows you down so that you notice Shang-Chi and oh, I can't remember her name, Sheila, something like that. Uh, Marlena Dietrich here, and then moves to like okay, and then there's more gambling action, there's guys you should be looking out for, and it just adds a flavor to this den of iniquity that we find ourselves in.
It's probably the equivalent of in a movie when you establish a new scene and you slowly pan through it, which in a
Right.
movie you can slowly force the reader to slowly experience that new setting, but in comics you can't control how fast a reader is going to read something or how slow a reader is going to read something, so you do stuff like this. You add these panel borders, and then it does feel like a slow
Yeah.
panel.
Yeah, this is the yeah, it's almost like the equivalent of the comics equivalent of the Spielberg oneer, where it's like a minute and a half long. It's not particularly long, but it does like kind of move to new setups.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Or at least just like yeah, drifts across. But man, the mood of all of this too. Like he's just really I love this shot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and then this is all leading up to him. He came to Hong Kong to find this guy, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mhm.
so when we finally see this guy, it feels special because we get these like four small panels and then a big panel as he announces. I'm
This
not
hint,
gonna like
I
I
love
can't
this
pronounce
hint
these
here.
names.
Yeah, but
What?
I love the hint here of like, yo, I came for this guy. Here's the guys I'm probably gonna have to fight, and then just like you can feel this almost like coming into frame, and then
Yeah.
cut to all of this. Yeah, Shen Kui.
Shinjuku.
Also, continuing the tradition of Marvel Comics believing that martial artists have shit tattooed on their chest.
Well,
So this comes after Iron Fist, obviously,
yeah,
right?
and I think editorially, I mean, it's safe to say, or at least, strongly, I could lean towards them just being like, well, we can kind of tie him and Iron Fist together, where he can make an appearance in Iron Fist, and they can have some history together. Like it was a very generic design, but it could be like used later on. Like this is very early Marvel, even though it's the '70s. It's still like so-called early Marvel that they
It's like
can.
15 years into Marvel, right?
Right.
The
Yeah.
So
Marvel
like
Universe.
they're just planting seeds for later on and to like figure it out later on. It's just the way like the Marvel movies are doing right now. They're flying by the seat of their pants right now. It's but
That's
yeah.
interesting because the Marvel movie universe is what, like 18
It's about
years in? Yeah. Like,
2008. Yeah. So,
Oh
so
wow.
so that's an interesting comparison point.
and I think it also serves to like it's silly, but I do in a practical sense. But I do think it serves to build this feel of there is like the conceit of the Marvel universe. It is the real world with this fantastical stuff layered on top of it. Like
Mm.
martial artists really exists in the world, but they don't go around shirtless solving spy crimes, right?
Oh, I mean, Shang-Chi
So
looks
Maybe in the '70s
ridiculous
they did.
hanging out with all these British spies.
yeah, but this sort of thing I think does tie into the signaling to the and the world building of so there's martial artists and then there's martial artists and you know the difference when a guy walks in with a chest tattoo.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, you become like a super because they have like superheroes, super science, super spies, and then super martial artists.
Now, I think I was being a little hyperbolic earlier when I said this comic was a masterpiece because it does have some flaws.
Go on.
I think the first half is so expertly done, but like, there's just too much dialogue throughout this action scene. Like, the action scene
Oh yeah,
isn't
yeah.
given any space to flow because somebody does an action move and you have to pause and read, and then you see the reaction to that action scene, pause and read, and it just completely ruins the flow of the action, which I think in the next issue uh,
They drop
there's
that.
a fight sequence where there is less dialogue.
Oh
So
yeah.
so yeah, this comic isn't perfect by any stretch, but it still impressed the hell out of me.
Uh, to counter that though, I would say that when it comes to a money shot, for example, Cat kicking that guy through the glass, there's only one caption box there. But then if you take Shang-Chi kicking that other guy in the neck, there's a giant
Oh
caption
yeah.
box there. So maybe they would rationalize editorially, or Doug Munch himself would be like, well, this one isn't so exciting. I'll put some words here. This one's very exciting, so let's just let that breathe, and they go back and forth like that. Like, it's still very collaborative in that sense, I would think.
Yeah.
Maybe, oh, or maybe he just wants to get his words out, and he's trying to cram them in any way he can. I don't know. Like maybe there is a lot of thought put into it in that aspect, but maybe he feels I'm trying to tell a story, and to be fair, like if there's not much dialogue, fans will write in and say like that took me 2 minutes to read. Like
Yeah.
this what are you doing here? So
Yeah, if you're not going to have a lot of dialogue, you better have a lot of art to pour over as far as like the action, the posing, everything that people would want to see.
oh,
Yeah.
there are amazing Jeff Darrow comics where it's like 5 issues of straight up fighting, and
Yeah.
the average reader would pick that up and go like, what is this? There's no story. Whereas we artists are like, look at this choreography, this is
Yeah.
amazing. But we're in the minority, so I see this wall of text and it's just like you have to give this to the average reader, I think, which is
not
unfortunate.
just not just choreography, but also the artistry. Like having this panel, you don't need that there, but there is something to it that like this is really completing the or filling in more of the artistic through line of
Yeah,
earlier on of this whole spread, right? The stalking of the cat, the understanding that he has with it, and then to have the cat show back up and just cut to it in the middle of this fight, which is a very well choreographed fight. Um, yeah, like the anatomy alone, like there's some stuff that's like okay, that's not really how a shoulder, like that's not how a shoulder moves, but then you also have this or this, like look at them back muscles,
yeah,
look at that. And a reminder to all of our watchers that our very own Colin Singh can help you get the body of a master of kung fu.
Yeah.
First session is free. Just give him
First
a
session's free. Yeah.
yep.
But
Contact him.
disclaimer, the road to strength, the price for strength is pain, and the price must be paid. I'm just going to put that out.
much like becoming a comic artist, the price must be
That's
paid, right?
right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because the thing is that like if you're an artist out there, hit the gym. Make sure you got back, core, shoulder, trap. Like, make sure you are strong enough to hold yourself up for hours at a time because you're gonna
Yeah.
need it, and you don't want to deal with the consequences of
Oh,
So
just
man.
many
letting yourself melt.
You're going to make me
so
get my
many older
back.
creators say that that's their one regret, right?
Yeah,
Is they didn't take care of their body.
yeah.
Well, to speak to that too, so imagine you have an illustrious career in comics, and you retire in your 60s, and day two of your retirement, you fall down the stairs and you fuck all your shit up, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you just never took care of yourself. You didn't build muscle to give yourself that padding to withstand something like that, or just your own like your mind body connection is just not there. Like
Mhm.
you must, your health is your wealth at the end of the day.
That's that's
you know
another great point, Colin. Yeah, the mind body connection, like working out will help you out with that.
Look
Like
at Greg Capullo and John Romita Jr. just like going
exactly.
strong to this
Yeah.
in their 60s, right?
Yep.
John Romita
That's right.
Jr. works out every fucking day.
Yeah.
It shows, but
and,
like
and
just
yeah, he's
you
able
know
to work so hard, and that must be a contributing factor, right?
Yeah.
and he's a go-getter till this day. The guy's going to be 70 in a few years, and he's still a go-getter. He can still kick your ass. I'm telling you. Like, don't piss that guy off.
Yeah, he's got that old man density where the
Yeah.
strength comes from.
Yeah.
Uh as we move through this fight though, yeah, what do you guys think as it goes on?
The words start getting a little more sparse, so that's an
Mhm.
improvement. But
Well, I
it
think
still is not enough. It still doesn't flow very well for me because of the excessive text.
I think you can break this single issue in half. So the first half, they have
Yeah.
they had action on page 5, I think, which is pretty much just one stunt. And then the second half, I think page from 11 or 12 to the end of the book is all action. I think that was kind of mandated, right? I mean, it's got to have kung fu in it, right? Even though they're
Yeah,
trying to build the story up, they're
he's the
trying to like
master of it.
give you context and everything. Yeah. So,
But yeah,
yeah.
this was not your average '70s comic, was it? Like the you.
No, and that's
No, no,
actually a
not by
big
a long shot.
no, and the apparently the sales reflected that. Like in the according to Gulacy, they were seeing around Spider-Man numbers for this book
Oh wow.
when he was on
Wow.
it. I don't know about the later issues because this goes to into the hundreds. I just yesterday I picked up issue 121, but like at this time, this is they're in the same this book is in the same league as Spider-Man, which is like that's where you want to be, right? And apparently the big appeal is that this is a book that comic fans would pick up, but non-comic fans would also pick up because it's so well realized in terms of this isn't a superhero book. This isn't for kids. This is a reflection of the movies that are becoming more and more popular as the 70s
Mm.
move on, right? Like these are the movies that the Wu-Tang Clan would be referencing 15 years later.
You know they ain't
Because
nothing to fuck with.
that's right. And yeah, protect your neck. And it's something that has permeated a lot of the culture as they go on. And yeah, I guess the majority of readers were single title readers for this.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, because it is different from say Iron Fist that has more of a superhero vibe to it.
Yeah, and I should say, like I saw I saw Enter the Dragon for the first time ever. I'm late to the game, and this there's a dynamic here where he's got a British handler, which
Hmm.
there's a scene in Enter the Dragon that like early on where Bruce Lee is talking to his British handler, and that just seems like the basis for this comic. But
Yeah, this guy, yeah. Dennis Nayland Smythe, I believe the character is called, who is actually also from the Fu Manchu books.
Mm.
oh really? So
Yes,
that's a owned by the I mean Sax Romer family or
Sax
whatever.
Romer.
The
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So I don't. So again, I don't think this was ever meant to be because the book starts a few months. Like the character starts a few months after Bruce Lee dies, but R.I.P. But but Enter the Dragon doesn't come out until also after Bruce Lee dies. So it's I don't know that
Oh,
it's really it was an intentional thing, or if it was, it wasn't from the outset, right? The book just kind of veered towards that thing because there are other characters in here. There's one character who is they don't say it out loud, but he is clearly supposed to be the son of James Bond and the grandson of Sherlock Holmes.
He looks like his
really?
clone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Clive Reston, I believe, is the
Yeah,
character.
resting. That's
Is
right.
that the guy
Yeah.
who's constantly spouting off the racial slur?
No, that's somebody
No,
else. That is another.
Tar. That's
That's
Tar.
yeah, Blackjack Tar.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's based on. Well, we'll see. I'll get to that when we see him.
Yeah.
This like what a great little ending point of just the silhouette of the cat. It's so
Yeah,
strange.
it's very artful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Taylor, you must know this, or at least have some theory. Why didn't they let Paul Gulacy do the covers, or why didn't he do covers? It may not have been them not letting him, but he may not have wanted to do them.
No, according to the man himself, he did not have the time. He said in the interview with Tomorrow's that as he really wanted to, like it was not a matter of not wanting to do them, and it wasn't a matter of them not letting him. It was just that like he's down to the wire every time he's delivering stuff, and I think I can understand that.
These are all
It's
Gil
not.
Kane.
It sure looks
Yeah,
like it,
Gil
doesn't it?
Kane. And
Yeah.
actually, I was going to speak to Gil Kane possibly being an influence on him earlier in his run because he was giving Shang-Chi those Caucasian eyes, much like Gil Kane's style. But you guys agree if Paul Gulacy did the covers for his run, the book would have sold double. right?
Well,
I
we get a sense of what his covers might look like in every issue, don't we?
The splash page, like those
Yeah, the
montage
splash
splash
page.
page he does, like that one there. It's
Yeah,
not really
But to
a
be fair, I think these wouldn't be approved as covers. So, because
but they are supposed to function as covers for the ripped off cover return policy.
yeah, that was the sort of mandate to have the existence of this page, right?
so it's more of a
Yeah,
frontal piece,
But
right?
I think it didn't have to necessarily follow the cover rules that were part of Marvel at the time. Like
no, that's true.
it's, I mean, there's no doubting that like these covers are very traditional, and then the front pieces, the page ones, are not. They're
Yeah,
more artful.
they are. Yeah,
Well, Marvel comics have to have like Marvel comic covers have to have action in this era,
Yes.
right? This does not have action in it.
no.
The
So
last page of every issue, not every issue, but for specifically this run, you'll see where it says in the to be continued box, the next issue will be Fight Without Pity. And then if you go to the first page of this issue, it goes with Fight Without Pity. And even on the cover, I think it says Fight Without Pity. Readers really invested that, like they were kind of yeah, there it is, right? Fight Without Pity in the bottom corner there.
Yeah,
These were coming out what, every 5 weeks?
I believe so. Yeah,
It was kind of
like
like a reminder,
in the
but
70s,
also
comics
like,
were often late, weren't they?
yeah, I would.
oh yes, yes. In '75, they are they are being run by either Marv Wolfman or Len Wein, and it is
Gong
the
show.
patients. Oh yeah, the inmates are running the asylum at that point. Like there is no. There's no strong hand or any kind of scheduling. It is just when these acid-filled maniacs get their shit in.
Yeah, famously, Jim Shooter was the adult in the room, the unfun guy, the
Yep.
nerd that comes in and like fixes everything and makes everything run more smoothly, ensures nothing's late. And they all thought they all hated him for it, right?
Yeah. They despised working with him. They didn't like that he was trying to harsh their buzz or whatever. And I can appreciate some guys like Gene Colan. That was never a problem of his, right? He's a professional from the 40s. Like he's been doing this for a long time. He hits a deadline. But if you are Steve Englehart and your preferred method of writing is me and my buddies are going to drop acid and wander around New York City for the next 12 hours and just record what we say, yeah, I would bet you would think that's pretty lame. And getting things in on time is for nerds. So maybe fuck off, Shooter. But I guess I don't think Doug Monk had that issue. Paul Gulacy, again, he's not living in New York too, right? Like this is also the era where you don't have to be living in the world where the city where it's being published. You can just mail this shit in.
Now,
So
actually, before we get into this one though, so story wise, Shang-Chi as a character, he is employed by the British, the secret spy organization, and
SIS, also known as MI5
that's right. And the cat,
or
the villain
MI6,
for
sorry.
this arc, yeah, the villain for this arc, the cat calls Shang-Chi a Britisher.
Yeah.
And at the same time, his allies, Shang-Chi's allies, like Blackjack Tar, calls him a Chinaman.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when I first read through this, I thought that Shang-Chi had actually British roots, like he himself spoke in a British accent. And I started reading this, visualizing in my mind that he had like an Australian accent. Every line that I was reading, I was thinking like, why am I thinking of him in an Australian accent? And then when I started reading number 40, then I was like, no, it's not an Australian accent. It's a British accent. And then every line of dialogue Shang-Chi was narrating, I read it in Alan Moore's voice.
It's
And if
Northampton,
you actually
boy.
read number 40,
Boy,
the
I'm
yeah.
Shang-Chi.
If you read number 40 in Alan Moore's voice, it actually elevates it just a little bit.
To that point, The apparently part of the other stipulation by Roy Thomas when he greenlit the character, one of them was okay. It's got to have the Sax Romer characters, and two, he's got to be half white. So, and I think that might be something that
Really?
has really been lost or obscured or jettisoned from the character over the
So
years.
canonically, he's half white.
At least at this point, he is. Yes, I don't know about the current state of Shang-Chi, especially given the rights issues around the Sax Romer characters. Like the reason I've collected a bunch of these issues because you can't get this anymore. The rights issues around the Sax Romer character prevents anything with Fu Manchu, Dennis Nealon Smith, his sister, Fa Lo Sui, I believe the character's name is. They can't be republished without
Well,
Marvel having a deal in place.
yeah, and for the longest time, Marvel was willing to pay that license agreement. Like the Marvel Epic Collection line has only existed for about 12 years or so, and for a while there, they were printing the Shang-Chi comics. And I think
Hmm.
like 2 volumes came out before Marvel, for one reason or another, decided they're no longer interested in renewing the license, and they stopped printing them. I think they even solicited a volume 3 or 4 or something, and then just never printed it because and there's probably a lot of reasons why they decided not to renew and decided not to keep printing them. But
Yeah, like
probably,
two collections. That's not a lot.
yeah. And it might be because, like, the elephant in the room is, like, by today's standards, a lot of these comics come off a little racist, I guess. And Marvel probably is happier
Well,
distancing
it's
themselves from these comics.
it's deliberately racist. Like he's like Shang-Chi himself is facing racism on both sides. He's not accepted by, you could say in quotations, his own kind, the Asian population,
Yeah,
because
that
he
is a good
works for
point.
the white man, the
Yeah,
Britishers.
and to be fair, like when he is called like a racial slur, like he will occasionally fight back saying don't call me that. So it is acknowledged, and it, to some in some aspects it's like it's more real, right? Because like that would have happened in the 70s. Like he would
Yeah.
have had an
Yeah,
old man British colleague calling him a racial slur, and he would have been
and
saying stop
believing
calling me that.
that he's doing it, that he's calling him that in an affectionate way, like, oh well, I can do it because he's my friend, and then cut to inner monologue of, man, I fucking hate when this asshole calls me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
real, right?
I think part of it might be so the Epic Collection Volume 1 came out 2018, Volume 2 2019, and I would not be surprised at all if they decided, you know what, we're not going to continue with this because we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in production, and it does not involve any of this shit, right? Like, you know what,
Yeah.
we're just going to make new Shang-Chi stuff. We got him in Hickman stuff. There's Secret Avengers stuff where he's a lot closer to, like, in the Secret Avengers stuff, it stated that, like, yeah, my dad has used a lot of aliases over the years, but here's what his real name is.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, and they replace it with actually I can't remember, what do they call him? It's like an actual, oh, here we go. Zheng Zhu. Yeah. An ancient Chinese sorcerer. And then Fa Lo Sui becomes Zheng Bao Yu.
Huh.
So
So like
eventually
Marvel
they
didn't
just
want,
decide they want
yeah,
their own
and
character.
Marvel didn't want like people to watch the movie and walk into a comic shop and like buy this stuff. They wanted people to buy the other stuff that is
I think.
a better representation of a more modern
And a
representation of the
more
character itself.
cohesive one, right? Across the various mediums. I think they want to be able to say, okay, well, yeah, he's a sorcerer in the movie and in the Secret Avengers. He's a criminal overlord and he's got a sister. Here are some of the names. They're not always the same, but it's certainly not referencing 1920s pulp characters.
Yeah,
Because that's the other thing is the Sax Romer Fu Manchu character stuff is from like the 20s, 30s, 40s. Like it's really old.
Yeah, back in the 70s, people knew who Fu Manchu was,
Yeah.
but nobody nowadays knows the character Fu Manchu.
Now it is a throwaway reference of like vaguely racial stereotyping at most, if you even use it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the second and third page. Can you guys tell me what percentage of the page is word balloons and text? Do you
Good
think?
God.
Like, what is that? 1/5 of each page?
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. I do like though, even though with all of it, it's still he's still employing this really well,
Yeah,
this technique.
Yeah.
And look at all these different faces. Like those are different guys. These are different men.
Yeah.
it's very impressive. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
in Doug Munch's defense, okay, this is a monthly serial comic, and you need to get the bang for your buck, and you
yeah.
can't read it in 2 minutes. You need to read. This is like an episode of a TV show. It's a half-hour episode. In this case, it'd probably be a good at least 10 to 15 minute read or more.
I just think there's more artful ways of doing this, but like I think it was Frank Miller that came in and sort of like changed the game, and changed the industry and how this stuff is written and how the text and the visuals work together.
Yes, check out our Batman Year One episode to hear more about that.
If you go to page four stands out for me for number 39. The scene by the dock of the bay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful page.
Yeah.
The reflection of her face in the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
with the ripples moving into her hair and
You're stealing my lines, Eric. But yeah, but this is, I mean, like the anchor image, all those types of elements are all here, right? Like if you, I don't want to bring the '90s, image artists into like, especially the top car artists who would, draw the babes with like just her taking up half the page, just one long body shot. Like this is more elegantly done than that, obviously. But definitely your eye lingers here quite a bit and it all comes together, it all works, right?
I think because he actually does he still manages to break it up with like, so here, and then here. It's still kind of adhering to panels that he's essentially hidden.
But it's engrossing and it's calming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
your eye hangs out here quite a bit.
Yeah, and it gives you the feel of, this is all one image. But also, you're right, you linger on it rather than with a lot of other pages that we've discussed, even in this book of just like huge images where you're just like, okay, I got it, and the eye passes over it. But I think because of the way he's broken it up, it kind of forces you to like, okay, I got to move through this in a specific way.
And then on the next page, that very first panel, that's not one panel. That's three panels.
Yeah.
And it's very subtle because the coloring kind of like obscures it a little, but it's so artfully done. Like
bam. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just beautiful page design all around. Like it seems like he's trying to impress, he's trying to show off what he can do.
Yeah, because what do we got here? We got writer, co-plotter, artist, co-plotter, and then everybody else shunted over here.
Yeah, like he's having a louder voice in this and the last issue, and then in future issues, it's still great art, but it's not as artfully done as these issues. Which, I mean, this is a monthly book. He's on month 2 of this. It wears on you, and coming up with these ideas is time consuming, and then you actually have to draw the page. So, I mean, it's understandable that he couldn't keep up the pace.
Yeah, if you want to see what an example of someone who really puts the work in and then executes it every single issue, make sure to pick up Assorted Crisis Events by our very own Eric. The trade paperback is out now. Number 1. Make sure to pick it up. I love the anatomy on this figure. There's there's something that can be so fucking difficult about this leg projecting forward, especially from a woman whose hips do not lie. Like, just to get everything correct, to feel like a smooth, cohesive unit. It's so well rendered. Uh, and it feels like she has snapped from here to here, no problem, right? Like her hands are still in the right position
Yes.
for the pole. She's just shifted around. She's pivoted. It's a really
It's such an
well
interesting pose.
executed.
Like it's not
Yeah,
that's not a generic pose that he came up with
Yeah.
very quickly. Like he put some thought into that, and his work in these two or three issues is so impressive.
it
You know,
is.
in terms of continuity too, so she gets into the defensive stance, and then the next time you see her, she's got her hands on her hips.
Yeah.
And in the dialogue, it's actually um, him saying, you can drop that defense stance, and he carries on with what he's saying, and time passes that she actually puts the stick down and puts her hands on her hips. Like there's a passage of time there where enough dialogue is in there that you kind of that you can rationalize that she did just lower her guard,
Hmm. Yeah, because she
and you
she
should
recognizes who this
there
is.
should be a symbiosis there between the dialogue and the art that you can reason the passage of time for things
Hmm.
like that to happen.
I think this is also the character who is, this is Clive Reston, the character who is very obviously supposed to be James Bond's son.
Oh, interesting. What are the hints that they drop?
The
Oh,
fact that he's
apparently
talking with Connery.
there's that. Well, actually, we'll get to Connery because there's a character
There's
that is
another
apparently,
character that's a clone of Connery.
yeah. But it's like it's a lot of oh well, my father used to kill for queen and country, or like it's a lot of dialogue stuff like, oh yeah, my family's been solving mysteries for centuries, right? Like it's just
Oh,
back
okay.
in our old stomping grounds of Baker Street or whatever. It's there's always, they don't say it because that would be illegal, but they hint real heavily, and I would suspect that if they tried to push it any farther, or maybe like nowadays, Amazon would say like, "Hey, no, we own Bond. That's ours. Get that
This
shit out of
whole
the way."
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen aspect going on in this comic,
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, right? It's
taking these literary characters.
Now,
biting
going
twisted.
to the next page, the top tier panels there. This I don't. This seldom happens in the run, romance. I mean, but this top tier panels is like, oof! It's so well done. The dialogue and the art together is so well done, especially the middle panel. She slaps him, and they have history together, right?
Yep.
And both romantic and violent, not violent history, but like a toxic history, you could say.
Yeah.
And the middle
Adversarial.
panel, the lines that come out, like Doug Munch, he's so. This guy was a ladies' man. You could. She slaps him and
Clive.
goes, "If that's the way you want it, darling, we've hurt each other a lot in the past. Maybe that's all we can do now." And you see that last panel there, like
What a
that's
great cutaway. Yeah.
a great cutaway,
Yeah.
perfectly done.
I love this pose. This is great. More excellent anatomy, and then it leads directly into just two really good. Like you could almost see this being overlaid on one another. Like it's clearly this is a continuation of that ship from here, from kind of this point and this point. They're the same. They're the same ship. It's the same setting.
And it is interesting because the the poses are how do I word this?
It's not slices of time.
Yeah, it's not slices of time. That there we go. Like in panels 3 and 4, it's the same pose,
Hmm.
but it's the panel border has broken it up. So
It's like he's drawing. He wants to draw your attention to the action and the result. But if it were all one panel, it would. I don't know that it would really sell as well because it does. I think it fools you into thinking of like, oh, it's the swing and then it's the crack. But that could all, you're right, that could all be one
It is
continuous image.
it is kind of a mix of the DeLuca effect and breaking up movements between panels.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like taking the DeLuca effect and then trying to slow you down by adding the gutter space. So it's the
Yeah,
mix of the two, which is unusual.
yeah. Because you have him here, but the DeLuca effect would fill the figure in here. But that's
Well,
not
no.
going to
This
work.
would be the DeLuca effect. If panels 1 to 4 were one panel, that could be the DeLuca effect because you got two figures.
Oh, okay. I
But
see.
so it's taking that one panel DeLuca effect and then just slicing them up in three. So it's like
Mhm.
a mix of the two.
It is,
And then
yeah.
the bottom tier or the middle tier does that as well.
Yeah, it's a very interesting approach to something. Well, I think, like you said, comics is about problem solving, and how do you convey this fight and make it be full of action and tension at the same time. And I think the panel breaks are causing that tension, right? Because you get like, okay, he's succeeded here, and then hard cut to, and now I'm off. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, and maybe it could just be as simple as he likes the aesthetics of it. Like it
Hmm.
just to him potentially looks like a nicer page when
Or he's
it's
figuring it
broken
out,
up.
right? Like he has some theory
Yeah.
about how this works. And then, oh man, it's too bad they have so many goddamn ads in here
Yeah,
because,
because that cut to the next panel is
yeah, like,
powerful.
yeah, reach for gun, snap to splam.
Yeah, man, that
Gun is
kick has so
flying.
much power.
Yeah, it's like that feels like it's pulled from a Bruce Lee photo ref. Or something, right? Like that feels like it is pulled from a photo ref. The fist up. It just, I can't prove it, but I think I think that's like, yeah, somebody got lucky and caught him at the right time. Because that's the thing about uh, Bruce Lee is if he's not posing, he is moving so fucking fast,
Yeah.
so fast that cameras can't capture him that well.
Mhm.
I've seen photography tests for uh, the Green Hornet, and they had to ask him to slow down for like the martial arts test because it didn't look right. He would move his fist so fast that it looked choppy.
And so this
Because
is a way of like trying to convey that speed in a comic. Which, speaking of the panel
yeah,
gutters, like if he had divided this panel into two, it wouldn't have had that power because it
right.
is two movements essentially. It's a kick, and then the result of that kick, someone
Yeah,
landing. But because it's one panel, it just has more power. It's all
hmm,
happening at once.
yeah. That's a great observation. Yeah, it's so instant that his leg just snapped up and everything about this table exploded towards you, the viewer.
Yeah, it's like this happened in a split second. Like
Hmm.
all these movements happened at once. Basically, he's moving so fast.
Yeah, and then it gets moody again. Like I think this is a good example of the push and pull between Gulacy and Monk. Is like it's you get this kick-ass quick action scene, and then, you know what? I'm going to contemplate the realities of working for the Secret Intelligence Service and everything that goes with that, including the fact that they all fucking lie, especially to me, because I'm an outsider.
But the job's not done yet because you're only halfway through the issue. And it
True.
culminates in like this. So Cat comes in and he's going to fight Shang-Chi to the death if you flip the page.
Yeah.
And he's got that long bladed staff. And Shang-Chi anticipated that one, like at some point, he's going to have to fight Cat to the death. And when
Yep.
he got on that boat, he canvassed the boat for weapons. And he guess what he found? He found two badass nunchucks, which leads to this
Shit, there they are.
movie trailer cutscene of him doing a number with the nunchucks, right?
Yeah,
That's
this
fucking
this reads like Paul Gulacy is like, give me this, give me
Yeah.
one page real estate to do this,
yeah.
and a writer when it comes to page real estate, you're fighting, right? You only have so much. There's all these debates of how much to give this sequence, how much to give that, and like, well, I can't afford to give a splash page because I just have so much story. And you can there there's always a debate going on, in at least internally, with writers about this. And so to give an entire page to this can't have been easy. Can't have been an
Especially,
easy give.
do you think this having so many panels on it is kind of the give and take of like, well, okay, if you're going to have just 5 panels of basically the same figure to demonstrate the nunchucks, you got to set everything up in just one page then. Like that's all you get for that setup.
Yeah, good point. That is probably part of the give and take.
Yeah, because you get like, okay, I've come up with my staff. Let's go. Since the age of 3, I've been trying to do this. They're outdoing each other. They're trying to outdo each other. Like, I've been learning to fight since I was 4. Well, I've been doing it since I was 3. Slice up your washboard abs. Uh, you're
Which is
not gonna
right out
be
of
able to touch me.
and that's right
Oh,
out of Enter the Dragon, right? Those
absolutely. Yeah. The
those wounds, that iconic blood
Yep.
coming from his abs.
Yep. And then, all right, let's slow down. And this final, like the tep. I don't know. There's something I love
Yeah.
about him just like catching it, and it's such a well realized hand pose after doing this like Michelangelo expert nunchuck shit.
It's such a great page. Man,
Yeah.
how much do you think the original of this page is worth?
I mean, whatever somebody paid for it, it's not enough because actually I don't know what goes into the value of a page.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this series is remembered too well. I think, I mean, it's tied to nostalgia and the age of the group that grew up at that time, like how much money
Mm,
that generation has. And it's just a mix of a whole bunch of stuff. And also just like one person can like completely have a total effect on the market. Like, oh, there was a record breaking sale, but that's only because like one person was willing to pay a crazy amount of money. So yeah, who
right. And
knows?
then
It's
then
a
it's
complicated ecosystem.
yeah, it drives everything up.
But yeah, like this was a two-part story, right? And okay, so yeah, we come on onto a page where like Doug Munch pulls back a bit. And so as a
Yep.
result, this action scene flows really well. Like you don't get
Mhm.
distracted by internal monologues or people declaring their motivations or whatever.
Yeah, it's a solid 3-page fight scene. Solid
Yeah.
3-page fight scene. And the dialogue, or not the dialogue, but the narration does creep up towards the third page.
Yeah,
But
there's a slow build, which is good.
yeah, slow. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. This see, when I think of the DeLuca effect, this is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, he's like, no, you know what? I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna make it all I'm gonna make it flow and feel like a cohesive image at the same time. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and I mean,
It's
I'd
so
imagine a lot of it
mysterious.
is about slowing the reader down, if I were to
Yeah.
guess.
Which is not something that you see in martial arts movies, right? The point is speed. The point is action.
Well, okay, but if you look at these two pages, you can see like I don't know, like a speeding up and slowing down. Like
Speed ramping.
all the action takes place very deliberately in one panel over the course of the first page, and then it reaches its climax.
Hmm.
And yeah, I guess as he's running away, let's slow down a bit, and then when you had that forceful, shump uh, attack, it I guess it might have more power because you had slowed the reader down beforehand. So
Right.
there's probably a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like you're right. Yeah. It's hard snaps to from one image to the other and then do and then yeah, like a ramp back up. Look at the fucking pose on this though. Like this
Yeah.
is look at this. This is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And falling into the comics code just a bit by not having red blood. It's
Hmm.
it's black and not too excessive, just subtle enough to get past the censors.
Yeah. Yeah. because it's being loosened, but it's not at this time. But it's not loose enough, not yet.
And they just fight on. And I mean, this is ridiculous. This woman stabs herself to get them to stop fighting. I mean,
Yeah, it makes no sense. I was mystified by this.
I was ranting last episode about uh, Chris Claremont was writing actual female characters, and I think I was referring to this about like this is not a well-rounded character. This woman,
You,
she's like a prize for these men, um, which speaks to my point last episode about how revolutionary Claremont was.
yeah, but as far as the death scene itself goes, I mean, great design.
Basically, she's threatening the cat. She was telling him, "Profess your love for me, or I'll kill myself." And he he still didn't. And
Yeah,
he called. It's not that he didn't call her, or he called her bluff. It's just that it wasn't in him to do something like that. So she killed herself. And then afterwards, it's like, oh shit. You know, he's like, well, no, I do believe you. I do love you. You know,
yeah.
but now it's too late. Like, it's
That's a good reminder to everybody. Don't
nuts.
hold feelings back. You don't want
Yeah.
them building up inside. Just be honest. But it will be reflected later on with Shang-Chi and what is her name? It's Lieko Wu. Yeah. A exchange they have later. This is like the cat, Shang-Chi, they're the same guy, right? And we've already set that up in I've been training since I was 4. I've been training since I was 3. I'm a living weapon. Me too. They fight. They just keep taking each other's weapons. They're tumbling across landscapes. They're fighting to the death. It's only when emotions come in that they're like, what? What now? I don't know what to do here. I do fists. I do punch. And we'll see that later on with
Well, you notice in the
Shang-Chi.
middle panel, actually go back, Taylor. The
Yeah.
middle panel to the second page there. He actually has his hand up to Shang-Chi to like not intervene,
Yeah,
right?
like shut up. Shut up
Yeah,
for a second. This is important.
he's just bluffing, dude. Just
Yeah.
relax. Right? And then the next page, so after she kills herself, he feels bad. So he throws her knife to Shang-Chi. He's like, you've been sent here to kill me. So go ahead. If you want to kill me, kill me. Because he's kind of lost the will to live himself since his lovers killed herself. Uh,
Hmm.
and he walks away into I don't want to say the sunset, but into the dusk, um, carrying her in his arms. Really nicely done. This page overall is really nicely done.
Yeah, the knife in the foreground, the heads up top. I'm not quite clear on what they are.
They're the witches that
Oh, right, that she
she
was
was
mentioning
warning
in the
Shang-Chi
in
about.
the
Yeah.
other. Yeah. And then we get that swinging 70s style. Ooh, look at that. Who needs buttons
Beautiful
on
flight
your
attendant for no
shirt?
reason, right?
Yeah.
Just to get the eye to slow down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, the scene there is to highlight the fact that he's keeping the cat.
Yeah.
It's
Is
kind of
it?
like bookends.
I thought it was the
Yeah,
flight.
yeah. Yeah, no, it bookends the two issues, right? Like we started with the cat and
Mhm.
it ends with the cat.
Yeah, exactly. Um, he looks ridiculous with that headband, though.
He does, yes.
Like it's such a 70s, it's such a weird 70s
I
thing. Like I
don't.
could see that actually happening, but he looks ridiculous.
Before we get into it, though, the next issue, I don't think in his whole run did he draw a single ugly woman.
No, no, because he's put
No.
the time in to make them to make their faces look like
And
real
hey,
people.
I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that this book is top tier spy espionage. You know,
Absolutely.
it's just like
Yeah.
a James Bond movie.
Yeah. It's it's really well done, and I the feeling I get from the interview is uh he really like Paul Gulacy really likes working with Doug Monk. Like they vibe together, even though they're quite different. He seems to recognize that they really complement one another.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I guess I'm speaking so much about the push and pull list, and but yeah, if they like working together, they like working together. So, and
Yeah, I don't.
they created magic, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I don't think it's because outside of comics and the creation thereof, he says they're very similar. Like they're very they have similar backgrounds, they have similar interests, they just have a similar vibe. Like they're very similar guys, and they get along so well in person and via correspondence that like Paul Gulacy calls Doug Monk his brother at one point during the thing. And he's like, and like a brother, like sometimes I get annoyed at him, but that
yeah.
doesn't mean that's not going to destroy this relationship that we have, which is an important thing to note when it comes to these kinds of relationships, right? Like sometimes people are just like, you got no cool and you fucking flip out at the smallest thing, and other times to keep these relationships going, it's all right, we'll do it your way because it's worth it to give here than blow this all up.
And on that note, this issue does not have Paul Gulacy as a co-plotter, and I can feel it right away. Like if we were to compare the opening to 38, where you had the intercutting, and you had like an info dump, here we have intercutting between two scenes, and one is a flashback to, I guess, him meeting his boss, and the other is him discussing the same, like, on the same subject with his colleague. But it's just too much dialogue going back and forth. Whereas like in the 38 sequence, it's a silent scene intercut with a lot of dialogue. This was
Yeah.
like this sequence in issue 40 was, I had to read it a couple of times because there's just so much information being imparted, and it's two
And you
different
gotta
conversations cutting
yeah,
back
you
and
gotta
forth.
look at those corners to make sure you're following. Like, okay, the rounded is one point, and the hard 90-degree corners are another conversation.
Which is a very artful way of having it. Like instead of making it two scenes, they merge the two. Like
Mhm.
I admire the ambition, but do you guys think it worked?
It's not as interesting.
Well, it works fine in terms of like I didn't have any problem
Yeah,
going back and forth between the
yeah.
past and the present, but they could have two toned the flashback or something
Ooh,
to
good
that
idea.
effect,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because it's very much carried on the alternating nature
Like
of the corners. The
without
corner
taking
style. Like
anything
that's
away from the storytelling itself, like they could have.
yeah,
It's an easy fix. They could have just two
yeah,
Well, but
flashbacks.
like it was clearly intentional, and the intent was like they're trying. Doug Munch and Paul Glacy are trying to impart information, and so what I'm asking you guys is, did the information come through to you guys?
Oh, yeah,
Like
Yeah,
clearly.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
that'd
just,
be fun.
it's not
Yeah,
as yeah, it's just not as
nothing
interestingly
bothers
done,
me at all.
but
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I give it points for being interesting. I just don't think it was. I would call it a failed experiment. I guess it's
I
it,
Well, you have it
but like points
overly
for trying.
analytical mind,
it
I would
wasn't
say.
it wasn't until I think here where I had to go, "Wait, what's going on?" Oh, okay, I see. I see. Okay.
And then you
Here
go to
we
that
are.
next page, and it's like 1/3 of the page is text.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's
It's a catch up. It's a catch up issue.
yeah. Yeah, it
Well,
is.
they're trying to set up the next story where there's like a mole in this among all these spies, and I guess it's trying to set up that spy paranoia.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
I
he's
mean,
kind of constantly living with. Yeah.
we're not really going to look at the next three, but this leads itself to the next three. I read the whole arc, and it all ties together very, very well.
See, viewers, that's the kind of work we put in. Colin read them so you don't have to.
Trust that this no everything that they do here. This is the halfway point, and the beginning of the story in 38. They establish the cat as the big bad. Turns out he's
Hmm.
not the big bad. Now they're halfway through, so they got to kind of bring you up to speed as to why he's not and what's the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
And who's all
Yeah.
involved, right? So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of talking heads here, but they don't skimp on the action at all. Number 40 still has quite a bit of knocking some heads together here.
Let's take a look. Because, yeah, it's not. Well, actually, I don't know.
There's a
I do
gunfight
like these
early
fights.
on, and then there's yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. I do find some of this as a little hard to follow in terms of the thugs. I don't know that they're that well delineated for me, but that's that's my issue. Because he's still doing like dramatic ass shit, right? Like this. Look at this. You don't need to do that. You could have them walking through, but nope. It's through the lights of the silhouettes of the gates.
Mhm.
Um,
Also, great shot.
I wanted to ask you who the actor he's modeling off of.
Marlon
If
Brando.
you, yeah, okay, yeah. So you guys see
Where?
Marlon Brando as well?
Where?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I think it's. Oh, yeah. If it's a head, man, that pose right there on the right it's the second panel on the right page. It looks like he took a life drawing and just like
Mm, yeah.
uh, put it in there.
16. You go to page 16, right
Yeah,
there on the
the
left.
first panel. But also, if you go to
Yeah.
issue, there's so that looks like Marlon Brando, but there's a full face shot.
That's young Brando. And then oh my god, so many goddamn ads.
Can you grab 43 very quickly? There's a Brando face shot, which is just completely 100% Brando, which is like 6 pages in.
There it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You see
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
now?
yeah.
If you turn the page, I'm this might be a reach, but I kind of see like if you turn the page, like who is that actor? Like okay, yeah, the in the mid tier on that second page there. Who do you guys think that is?
Connery.
Who? Here?
Yeah,
No, I'm talking about the younger guy.
Younger guy? I don't know.
Connery.
I got nothing.
I I I might be wrong, but I see Pacino.
Oh,
No,
maybe.
I
But
don't
I
think.
also I do get the Connery thing. I think Blackjack Tar is actually supposed to be referencing Connery.
Yeah, I can see that, but
But you
it is
know,
interesting that he's using these
yeah,
actors.
No,
it's
Reston is full on Connery. If you go
the
back
thing
Oh
to
yeah,
is,
40, if you go back to 40, page 19 or 17 rather, bottom left corner on the second page,
oh yeah,
dead giveaway.
yeah, yeah. It's
okay, yeah, huh. I'm just too used to I'm a '90s kid. I'm too used to old man Connery.
Yeah, yeah, me too though. Me too. But the wife and I
yeah. Well,
are doing a deep dive into Connery's Bond films, and now he's all I see.
yeah. I can't find any like I can't find a definitive like statement of
Actually,
who is based on what, but
panel 2 on the second page there, where he's leaning against the window and you see his back. What a nice shot
yeah.
there. He likes drawing backs.
you back muscles are notoriously difficult, and it
Oh
seems
my
like he's
god, are
mastered
they
it.
ever?
So you
Yeah.
got to show off when
It's
you've
like Bill
mastered something
Kane with
difficult.
his up angle shots of faces,
Of
up and
noses,
off.
yeah. Yeah, if you can see the nostrils, it's
Hey,
Bill
look what
Kane.
I can do.
Yeah.
Hey, look up. Conan.
But
You know?
I do wanna go back to yeah, this does not flow that great, but I kinda don't care because of the care that has been put into all these figures, like her here, just this walk of hers, his face, like it's all so well. It's
Yeah,
lush. It's lush.
yeah, that last face is so well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the scene you were talking about, where she says that they're in love,
Yep.
and he's like, "What? Are we?"
Are we? And he's like, yeah, because he's
He said, I never
incapable.
said it. He said, the second to last panel, he goes, I never said that.
Yep.
You know?
She's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
I see.
yeah."
Cold
Yeah,
as
I don't know.
that.
Like,
Which
what was? I mean, when does this pay off? Because I only read the
Hmm.
next couple of issues, and it doesn't seem it. I guess they saved that for much later.
It doesn't for
if
this story.
if at all, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't know when they're going to get canceled, and they're probably hoping that this eventually, because the thing is that this is also still the time when Gwen Stacy has died, but just recently, right? Like within 2 or 3 years of this, no one is settling down. No character. Every character is a swinging single bachelor, so that he can get tied up in all kinds of romantic mishaps, right?
Continue
Uh,
that soap opera.
yeah, and to have a character like profess their love for somebody, I think is usually either like, well, because we got told we only have 2 issues left, or, well, I'm going to kill one of them. So that works out.
Well, Gulacy's last issue is number 50, and Lyco and
Mhm.
Shang-Chi had their thing going all through 50. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I only read that run. I don't know what happened beyond that. So, but they had their will they won't they thing going on all through 50.
Oh, okay. Can we quickly look at 42?
Uh, yeah.
What did you guys think of? Because it's interesting because he's worked with several inkers throughout this. He worked with Dan Adkins in these issues, right? And it's just interesting to look at 42 because he's working with Tom Sutton, and
It looks
it's
like he's inking himself here, because it just says artist and then letters and colors.
sorry, which issue is that?
This is 40.
No,
Oh,
Tom, no 42. 42 is
Yeah, no, I know.
okay. I didn't notice that. So he inked himself in issue 40.
He
yeah.
must have, because then Tom Sutton is doing it in 42.
He
And
had the
actually,
time.
Eric, I was gonna
That's
say
crazy.
for credits wise, Doug Munch is mentioned as story and Gulacy's mentioned as artist. I think they just broke it up that way. I don't know if it was editorial thing. They may have still been collaborating, co-plotting together all throughout.
But
Yeah, I just think like
42,
less so.
storytellers. They're both listed as just
And
storytellers.
and I know why. Like you guys read this issue, right? Because this issue
Yeah,
is wild because of the crazy story experiment they did, which I don't know why they did it. Sometimes it just seems like they're doing an experiment for the sake of it, but it's not thematically relevant to the story.
yeah,
This is where experimentations happen, though, right? This is not a A-list book, despite its sales, whatever they may be. This is not Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Cap, Hulk. Even this is where you
Yeah,
get
that's a
real
good point.
experimentation, especially during this time, right? And who's editing this? Marv Wolfman. Yeah, Marv Wolfman is, I'm gonna say, I don't know this for sure, but I'm gonna say is fine with that sort of thing, right? Like it's
Well, okay, so what did you guys think of the crazy experiment before we explain
it,
it
it,
to
they go like a little full James Bond, full jetpack, full gadgets. I prefer.
I'm talking about there's a story here which is a basic story. It's the good guys talk about the bad guys and then they go off to look for the bad guys and they find them in a warehouse and have a fight. That's the story. But it's pretty standard fare. It's
Mhm.
how they tell that story that makes it unique and different. Uh, and how they tell that story is, if you go to page one, or not page one, so page one has the big
This
that's
Steranko-y
the
looking
second
thing.
cover, but
Yeah.
in page two, you intercut the conversation with the fight in the future, and
Hmm.
then we frequently come back to that fight that is eventually going to happen, but we don't have any context for it. I mean, if panel two or panel three, he's sitting at that desk, and then we just see like this fight kind of break things up, and then it goes back to, Shang-Chi is walking in to have a conversation with him, and you see the desk is there and the fight is going on. That fight is sort of like not actually happening in that setting,
Right.
but
Yeah. At
it's
this
like,
time.
If you take that fight away, it's just talking heads for 5 pages, right?
yeah, exactly. And so over the next several pages we have the talking heads, and then it goes to this warehouse fight, and then more talking, and it goes back and forth, and then Shang-Chi goes and talks to somebody else, and we go back to the fight, and then when it finally reaches that point where we get to the fight, it like happens in between panels. It's like basically he shows up yeah, right there. So that first page there, the last two panels, like in between those panels is the big fight that we've been seeing all throughout. So
Yeah.
we see them meet up, and then we see he's finally defeated after that fight, and it says, "We have fought for eternities, for a time longer than my life, until I am now near death." Maybe that's the artful reasoning. Is it was meant to feel really long, like it
Yeah.
was. That fight took place over the entire issue, um, which I like. I bring this. I mentioned Eternal, a comic I did a while back, and that's something that I did, and not having read this comic, but like I had a fight interspersed throughout the entire thing, and then it finally the main story is going off. It's going on. It's intercutting between the main story and the fight, and then it finally links up, and then we see how that fight started.
Mm.
And thematically, I was doing that because the comic was called Eternal, and I wanted the fight to feel really long, and also it tied in with the ending. But yeah, so it's an interesting experiment they did here.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing that if you're on a book that you have become known for right out the gate, I could see both of them wanting to try, like, you know what, let's try something new. Let's try, what if we try a different form? If we alter the way the story is told that most people aren't expecting.
And it's notable that Paul Gulacy is listed as storyteller, because when
Yeah.
the more artful stuff happens in these comics, it Paul Gulacy gets a storyteller credit, I find.
Hmm. Good pull. Good pull.
But
But
actually, I brought that comic up for a different reason. I wanted to comment on the inker, but
oh,
that just sort of came out. What, like, because the inking there is a lot more scratchy, and like I personally prefer Dan Adkins stuff, but
You know what? I
it is
agree.
interesting to see the inkers change up, right?
yeah, like, well, comparing himself to this, like, he's doing a lot less. He's not doing a tone hatching or anything as much in his own inking, let alone when who inked this again? Goddamn.
Tom Sutton.
Tom Sutton. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tom Sutton is grittier and scratchier and just like, yeah, a
man,
lot
look at all
more.
this bullshit. Yeah.
then Jack Abel does the next two issues after that. Like he must have been like really on the wire to hand these penciled pages in for them to,
Yeah.
you know, have a
Yeah,
good month every issue.
and this is him. This is part of what brings him to leave at issue 50. Right? Is he's getting burnt out? This is, to his mind, this is a lot of work for not much money,
Yeah.
and there's the stress of, Christ, I got to get this done every goddamn month. I don't get paid if I don't do a job.
Yeah.
You know what? And he would go on afterwards to work for a while in advertising.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and he was
Mm.
already, yeah. And he said he worked at advertising agencies. It's not like he just like walked in. He was a freelancer, but he was like, well, but I freelanced in comics. Uh, this is nothing. Like, this is freelancing on easy mode compared to freelance comics.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
it really
uh,
preps you for.
yeah, right. So it's, yeah, he's down to the wire because he's putting a lot in. Even in this issue where it's not, he's not listed as a as co-writer or co-storyteller or anything. Like, just look at this section of,
Yeah,
like, well, it's you're moving through time, but you've also got these intercutting panels all over the place. Like, he's putting a lot in, and at this point, he kind of can't not do that, right? He's got to put some amount of the glaciness in.
yeah, he seems like a storyteller through and through. Which
Yeah.
I was having a little bit of a conversation offline with Colin earlier about like a great illustrator versus a great storyteller, and sometimes the best illustrator isn't necessarily the best storyteller, but you can still appreciate
Hmm.
their illustration skills. But Paul Gulacy, he's the full package here. He's like an ambitious storyteller, but also just such an amazing illustrator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him bringing it down to the wire, three inkers over four issues. Like it's disheartening to see because you come for like Adkins was a good inker on his art, and when he inked himself, he was even better.
Yeah.
But when it's like when you show, you know, you show up for his art, but now it's inked by someone who makes it look too slick or makes it look too, make it look too splotchy or one thing or another, and you're like, it's like grain on a TV screen, or there's some kind of filter on that. You're just like, it's not as good as what I thought it would be,
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's the art versus commerce, right? Like
Yeah.
we're appreciating the art, but this
Like
is
I
an
was not a
industry.
fan of 45. Number 45 just bothered me to no end.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah.
It's
I don't think I
again.
read that one.
I don't
So
have
in
it.
45, a lot of great action scenes, and I read this on glossy stock paper. I didn't read the actual original issues, but the color bothered me, and just the inking. The lines were just too thick and too perfect or too bold. I don't really like that. I want some texture to his artwork, and
Mhm.
when he's inking himself, he's
So that
top.
was Pablo Marcos inking.
Uh, is it?
Wow. So yeah, so many so many different
Yeah.
inkers throughout
Yeah, Pablo
this
Mark. Like
entire
even
run.
just the drapery was just kind of like off-putting, and the hair, especially for the women, like the women that he would draw, the hair would just be very thick and bold, and just not not. There is no texture in it in my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, these were pretty cool comics overall. At least these.
Yeah. This run, this arc.
Yeah. So I mean, Taylor, you collect Tomb of Dracula comics, and
Yep.
I guess you also collect Master of Kung Fu comics.
I
Uh,
accidentally started collecting them. Yeah, I didn't realize it until you guys brought this up, and I was like, "Wait, no, shit, I have a bunch of these." Like, and pull out a stack about
yeah, I was
that big.
surprised. I thought you only went after
Tombs, the
Tomb of
tombs of
Dracula comics.
Dracula. Yeah, those are the
But
ones I'm
the
actively
key
looking
is that
for.
these are like cheap comics, right? Like these are
Oh
dollar bin
yes,
kind of comics.
I don't think I've ever paid more than $3 for a Shang-Chi back issue. Yeah, because it's not that sought after, even after an incredibly successful movie, right?
Do you have the Max issues?
The what?
The later Max mini series or no?
I don't know.
No. Okay. Yeah. Do you have 50?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Let's
Yeah, let's see.
cap
After
off.
that, I have the aforementioned 42, 43, 41, and then 44. Like I got a bunch of these SOBs
Mhm.
floating around. So
And we can agree that like the the peak was that two-parter, right?
I think so. Yeah, cuz
Super.
like just
Yeah.
yeah, Jack Abel Inker, it's a much more delicate line. Um but there's not I don't know. Yeah, this is the beginning of the end. I think for Paul Gulacy on this series, right? He's still pushing to do new stuff, but at this point, like fuck, it's so much work. There's so many people yelling at him to get stuff in. He's trying to put work in that people are going to like, and it's just not where it needed to be for him. He has spoken about how it just wasn't fun anymore. It just wasn't an enjoyable thing, right? You start when you're young and you do it for the love of it, and then later
Yeah. So towards the
he's
end,
getting burnt out.
he started get. You could say, yeah, he was getting burnt out. And he was getting other inkers to do his inks, and 50 was a fantastic issue. I encourage
Yeah.
everybody to go and take it a look. But it just kind of hits different because he didn't do it himself. He didn't ink it himself, and it was just I don't
Yeah,
know. Uh, I would say overall, though, it's a very fulfilling run from 18 to 50. Paul Gulacy, this put him on the map, and he
yeah,
great stuff afterwards. Sable is one to look at too. I hope to do maybe if I can track him down, let's do a Sable episode in the future. But yeah, this guy is definitely one of the greats, and he was innovative. And my only overall regret is that he didn't do the covers. I know he didn't have time
Yeah.
to, but the books, you buy the book, it's
Just
got
rip the cover off, Colin. Just like buy them, rip the cover off, and the first page is the cover for you.
that's sacrilege to me, bro. But yeah, those Gil Kane covers do not do the inside justice, not at all.
No, they're pretty action-packed superhero fare sort of stuff.
It's Marvel fare.
Typical
Yeah.
Marvel cover, which Gil Kane's a great artist, but I know what you mean. It's the covers are very typical, nothing innovative about it, which, when you open up the comic, it can be very innovative, and so it's a little deceiving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure to check out Claws of the Cat is the beginning of this arc. It's
So 38, I think I started off saying it's a masterpiece. I was a little hyperbolic. It's an almost masterpiece, and it is a thoroughly impressive comic. But Colin, I think you were more impressed by 39, or sorry, was that you, Taylor? One of you guys was.
I was impressed by more by 39.
Yeah, 39 for sure.
Yeah, because it's got more of the cross-cutting across time and space, and he's kind of pushing more. But I don't know, across all of these issues, it's clear that Paul Gulacy, if you haven't checked his stuff out, you gotta. And I don't know, he's not bound by any of the history or too much of the history of what a comic should be.
Yeah, which is part of the Steranko inspiration, right?
Yeah, the graphic nature of art that is being pulled into it. So, yeah.
So, what were you guys all up to this week, art-wise?
So, obviously, I was going to do Shang-Chi, and I ended up with a 3-panel scene. I'm still got to finish inking it, but you'll see the inked version right now. But I took a line from the movie trailer for Shang-Chi, which was his father saying that I trained you so the most dangerous people in the world could not kill you. And I split that up into 3 panels. And it's not going to end up this way, but each panel I wanted to be a different scene, like a different timeline of a scene. But it was just a little bit overly ambitious. So I don't know how it's going to end up. Obviously, you can see how it ended up.
Ambition is good. But yeah, that's cool. You did an actual page. So that's very cool.
Rad.
Cool. Yeah. What have you got there, Taylor?
I've got harkening back to the 70s roots.
Oh, very cool.
Nice hair on that.
How'd you come up with the pose?
Oh, I found I did a search for like 70s martial arts stuff, and then tried to push it as much as I could.
Nice silhouette on both characters.
And
you finished this right down to the wire, eh? You're peeling
down to the wire.
You're peeling it off because you just finished it like a couple hours ago.
Yep, pretty much. Yep, it was drying when I hit record.
So did you Google motherfuckers getting knocked out in midair or what?
No, just it's something like kung fu action pose. Okay. If you put kung fu in, you get a lot of 70s references.
There's a lot of lifelessness to the body of his opponent there.
That's actually mostly me. That's
lifelessness in a good way. I'm not.
Yeah, like that's what I'm going for. Is like he's gone limp midair.
Yeah.
But this is something that I had to like. I'm really trying, and I think that a lot of the anatomy stuff that I did, a lot of the anatomy practice I've been doing has paid off because of like, okay, the twist, if the leg was originally kind of more out this way, and I had to push it farther up. So what does that do? That's going to contract glutes. It's going to stretch stuff. So I think it's really been paying off, and This is one of the ones that I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty fucking happy with this. This is
that's good.
Good job, me. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I have nothing. Oh, and maybe I should. Maybe I can show on the edit the cover I drew this week. I just drew a Youngblood variant cover for Assorted Crisis events. So
Hell
as
yeah.
part of, I guess November is going to be Youngblood month at Image. So every Image book had the option to do a Youngblood cover, and
Right
yeah,
on.
I spent way too long on this. I'm sweating now because I'm falling behind on actually drawing the comic, but it was fun to do.
You did a good job though.
No, thank you. It was I came up with a couple different ideas, and I had a more conventional idea, and then I had this idea where it's like the reverse angle of that very iconic first Youngblood cover.
Hmm.
It's the first Image comic cover of all time, and Dennis basically was like, "No, you have. That's brilliant. You that other cover is okay. The other cover idea is okay, but you have to do this idea." And so we went
Yeah.
with that one.
Well, and I think it ties in thematically too, like time and space, moving through it. When everybody sees it, they'll get it.
But yeah, that should be in shops in November. But
Right.
Right on.
but yeah, shall we close it out?
Yeah, let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.